Hi, I'm Miles from Chorley Group Go EV. Today we're here to look at this, the brand new facelifted MG5. We're going to compare against the previous model and we'll show you what it's like. So what has MG done to facelift the MG5? Well, clearly the old model was designed more conventionally, this chrome grille going across the front, reminiscent of perhaps the previous model Passat. That's all gone. So we've got a much smoother front end, much more modern looking. These sort of grills down the bottom here looking almost like the front of a whale sort of mouth there. This new colour, the grey, is looking very nice. We've got these new LED headlamps with LED bulbs. The previous model had halogen bulbs which weren't great for driving in winter, to be perfectly honest. Some people complained about that. Some people upgraded to LED bulbs themselves, but these now come with LED lights front and rear, which is excellent to see. The MG logo moved now, rather than being on the charge flap here, it's instead moved up onto the bonnet, a lot flatter. And this is the new charge flap here. Overall, though, it looks thoroughly updated, looks a lot more modern. We've got this slightly slipperier, sort of more EV look to it, rather than the more conventional ICE derivative that this appeared to be. And I think actually with these styling changes, it has made a big difference overall to how the front looks. Let's take a look around the back. Okay, so around the back we can see that this chrome strip has been shortened a bit for this bumper. The panels are roughly the same sort of shape, size. The tail lights have changed though. You can now see this new LED profile in these ones. Changes slightly more than skin deep. This one now has got 500 kilos of towing capacity. So if you wanted, you could fit a tow bar, that would take a small camping trailer, perhaps even a little teardrop trailer, or you could put a bike rack on it and carry a couple of bikes with you. Also, up top, always good for families, we've got roof rails. These can take up to 75 kilos. Now, that was the case with this model, but actually on the lower specification, the Excite, as they called it on this model, it didn't have roof rails. This one, on the SE model, the lower spec, and on the Trophy, both come with 75 kilo bearing roof rails. That's really useful if families want to take bikes on top, take roof rack, that sort of thing, take a roof box. That's what I've done when I've taken my family away. We've had a roof box on, we've had the dog in the back. 5 of us going off onto a caravanning weekend. Excellent. So, I've been driving an MG5 now for the last couple of years. I had the original 51 kilowatt hour battery and then the new 61 kilowatt hour battery that came last year. And then this is an evolution again. This is the facelift MG5. The drivetrain is the same, so the same motor, same power output, same battery size. So that's good for about 250 miles if you go for the SE version, and this Trophy version gets around 230 miles on the WLTP test. In both cases though, it does depend how you drive, because most of the time when I was driving my old MG5, I would easily get way over 200 miles with a single charge, and actually some taxi drivers I know that were driving these around London and Manchester were seeing 300 miles, 320 miles on a single charge, just because they're driving a bit slower and, you know, it'll just stop-start traffic and doing a lot of regen braking. So, real world, 200 miles plus. The Trophy getting slightly less mileage just due to the fact that it's on 17-inch wheels rather than the 16-inch wheels that are on the SE. But first impressions are, obviously I've driven about 30,000 miles in these cars over the last couple of years. First impressions are very good. It handles the same as it did before, but everything in terms of the interior quality has just been moved up a notch. This TFT screen I've got in front of me and the gauges with power bands going up on the right hand side and then your speed on the left are all now colour coded to this sort of shiny blue stripe you see down the side here. So we've got overall a really nice upmarket feeling interior. The comfort levels are the same. The seats are really comfy. The seats were always really comfy in the old MG5, and that's been maintained, although we have now got some sort of cloth on the side bolsters, which actually looks really nice. It feels nice as well, and that's continued through onto the dashboard in front of me and on the door handles here. Yeah, overall I'd say it still feels very, very similar in terms of performance. 0 to 60 is 7.7 seconds, and you get a real good surge of power, particularly up to sort of 60 miles an hour. It really pulls very strongly, and it will keep going all the way to 115, so way in excess of what you need to lose your license. So performance is great, comfort is lovely, and this centre console and everything here, we'll show you in a second, so much nicer than the older version. It really has been improved in leaps and bounds. So on this trophy model, we get these 17-inch alloys, these two-tone black and silver, 215/50/17 Michelin tyres that we've got on there. We've got 360-degree cameras on here, so you get like a bird's eye view, you get 3D cameras, we'll show you that on the interior. We've got this privacy glass now as standard on the trophy model as well. So it just gives it a slightly more premium, bit more upmarket feel about it, and also helps to obviously keep prying eyes out of your interior as well. So let's take a look on the inside. The interior is, to be honest, where you feel the biggest change. Gone is that hard black plastic, leather stitching on the dashboard. It was all very usable, but it was a bit functional, a bit form over function. This now has been completely updated. We're looking at this new floating tablet display angled towards the driver, which is a nice touch. This is now using the Android software which we've seen in the MG ZS EV Mark II and also the MG4. So it's a lot more responsive, swiping across, instant touch recognition. We've got our climate controls up here with a tactile button to set those, and then you set it on the screen for where you want it to go. Heated windscreen, heated rear windows, etc. We've got our 360 cameras at a touch of a button, and we can see those on there. We've got this fabric now across the dashboard with a very light blue stitching, which then picks up on the light blue accents we've got on the end of the stalks here, and on this swage line which goes around the internal dashboard parts and then down the side doors here. These switches on the door handle here, door plate here, look more modern, they've been updated. And this fabric then continues around onto here and also on the side bolsters of the seat as well. We've got this lovely now floating centre console. We've got a couple of USBs, there's a USB-C and a USB-A down here and a 12-volt socket as well. And a storage tray there where you can put your phone or other devices. So they're out of the way, you're not tempted to touch them when you're driving. You can have them out of the way down there. That's really good, and it also means there's cables not floating all over the dashboard like perhaps there was before. This new drive mode selector completely changed from the other models we've seen. So this has got like a domed, semi-transparent top which is illuminated as well. That's good because the chrome on the old one, sometimes if you had a ring, was sort of scratching the chrome, and that could potentially remove some of the finish. This now looks like it'll be a lot more resilient. We've got a mode switch here for changing the drive modes from Eco to Comfort to Sport, or back. And the KERS mode can be changed, so the braking regen strength, so 1, 2 or 3. And in level 3 it gives quite a strong regen effect. Level 2 is sort of midway. Level 1 is almost a bit like, I suppose, if you're in 6th gear in a manual car and you take your foot off the accelerator, it gives a slight bit of engine braking but not hardly anything at all. The start-stop button used to be over here, it's now down here. But apart from that, all the other controls are laid out the same as they were on the original MG5. So you've still got your auto lights, auto wipers, your cruise control or lane speed limit setting is down here. We've still got adjustment for reach and rake on the steering wheel. And that leather appearance of the steering wheel, it's not leather, I don't think, but it feels an awful lot like leather. And the same on the seats. This is a polyurethane artificial leather with this sort of canvassy sort of style on the sides here. These are heated on the trophy model, not on the SE. But no, internally it just feels thoroughly updated, thoroughly modernised. I like this brushed aluminium we've got here and on top of the dashboard here as well. Rather than piano black, it's nice to have that sort of brightness. It gives a bit of reflection in the cabin and a bit more light, but it makes it feel, yeah, a bit more premium as well. So in the back of the MG5, it's good leg room. Chair's sat for me, and I've got a few inches of leg room, and my feet can go underneath as well, and that's within the seat in its lowest setting. In the back of the centre console, we've got a USB-A and a USB-C port down there. We've got little storage pocket there as well. In the centre armrest, we've got 2 cup holders. We've got Isofix in both the outer seats. And one thing that's been a complaint from some people in the past, MG has now fitted little courtesy lights in the back. So that's ideal for putting kids in car seats, etc. People buckling up in the back, they can see where they're actually plugging in their seat belts now. So overall, yeah, it's an improvement on the previous model. It feels comfortable. It feels, you know, the same amount of space as there was in the old model, but just a couple of nice little tweaks to improve it a bit. Of course, one of the big selling points for the MG5 is the fact that it's an estate vehicle. If you've got dogs and pets, it's a lot easier to fit them in this sort of vehicle than it is the saloon or a hatchback. And so under this load level here, we've got 479 litres of boot space, which is the same as we had in the previous model. This boot floor is in the highest position. You can also slide it down, just to give yourself a bit more space, or of course it's in the higher position, it makes it a little bit more level for getting things in and out. There is space under there as well for an optional spare wheel kit. It doesn't come with a spare wheel as standard, it comes with foam, but you can get a spare wheel to fit in there. So overall, it's a very practical car. When you fold the seats down, you get 1100 and something litres of boot space, so it's a very practical vehicle. I've done a few IKEA runs in this and fitted loads of stuff in. So it is a car that you can use for load lugging, which ultimately is one of the reasons for choosing an estate vehicle like this. This, of course, being pretty much the choice of the only one electric estate vehicle there is on the market at the moment. So the MG5 still has the MG pilot system, so that's the speed adjusting cruise control and lane keep assist. It's also got the intelligent speed limit setter of the previous model as well. It's really easy to just use a little stalk down here, pull it towards you to set the speed. You can adjust it by tapping it up or down. If you want to adjust the distance of the car in front, you just twist the stalk towards you or away from you, and that means that it allows for a bit larger or a smaller distance for the vehicle in front. And that works really well. It doesn't ping off the lanes, it keeps you centred in the lane without any of that. Sometimes some cars have got this habit of sort of veering you from one side to the other across the white lines as you get close, but this one actually just centres you and holds you really dead ahead, which is really useful on motorway runs like this. The MG also comes with iSmart, so it's got the MG app like you'd find with the MG4 and the MG ZS EV. If you click below, you'll see a link to our video on how to bind and how to use that application. And here on the motorway at 70 miles an hour, you know, we're chugging along with, it's quite a windy day today, but there's minimal wind noise coming from outside. It's just, you know, very easy drive, very comfortable, I think is the word you probably use. It just feels like you could go for hours, which obviously this car with a range of over 200 miles is capable of doing. We're going to take this to a rapid charger and see how well it rapid charges, because that's the key thing for electric vehicles as well, is not only how long the charge lasts, but how long you need to spend charging if you are doing a long journey. So we're going to test that for you and see what speed we get on the rapid charger. This battery, also one thing to mention on the MG5, it has got a battery heater on this, so an auxiliary battery heater. So if weather's particularly cold, I mean it's not today, it's like 13 degrees, but if it was particularly cold weather, you can set on here whether you want the battery to preheat before you get to the rapid charger, and that means that warm batteries can charge faster than cold ones. So if you're looking at doing a rapid charge, that's a really useful feature that enables you to charge the battery that little bit quicker. We're not going to use that today, we're just going to see what it's like when we turn up and use the charger. So if you're doing a long day's drive, obviously one of the things that's important is fast recharging. And here on this CCS charger, we're able to see up to 88 kilowatts is what we've seen today. Perhaps with a slightly warmer day, we may get over 90 kilowatts charge rate. And that realistically means that we've added over 10% in about 4.5 minutes. So 10% to 80% is going to take around 35-40 minutes in total. So you're adding 150 miles of range in that time, plenty to do a long journey. And it means you're not going to be sat for a long period of time at the side of the road waiting for it to charge. In terms of charging, AC charging is 7 kilowatt single phase. The CCS DC is up to, well, around 90 kilowatts. It's also got vehicle to load on here, so you can plug in an adapter into the front and you can run a 13 amp socket off it, giving you the ability to run power tools, drills, or if you go camping, again, you could run like a small camping fridge or perhaps some sort of cooking device from that 3-pin plug. So that's an optional extra you can get from your dealer, but all the cars have that capability from standard. I hope that you've liked this video. If you have, please click the like button below. If you'd like to subscribe to our channel, click up here and be notified when new videos come out. If you'd like more information about the MG5 facelift, click here to see it on our website. Click down here to view the video review we did of the previous model, and click here to see one of our other video reviews of other EVs.